Some people have asked us on our social media pages to answer a couple quick questions, and so we're going to cover some of those today, some of the things that you wanted us to cover. One of those was how to cut lab nails. Real quickly, what I want to say is, first of all, you want to do it often. You want to start with a young puppy, getting it used to having its feet handled, touched, the nails cut every 2 weeks. We do it every 2 weeks here while they're puppies. You should be able to keep doing that when you take your dog home. And it's easy to do it with the yellows because you can see the quick. It's harder with the black and the chocolate Labradors to see the quick, so I tell people just, keep taking it conservatively for a while, and actually the more you cut, the more often you cut those nails, the shorter and shorter you can cut them, because the quick is going to recede up into the nail, and then you can cut it short enough so that it sits up. You want to make sure you don't hear clicks on the floor, then you know your nails are too long. And the other thing is, you don't want to have a dog that, if you don't cut its nails, that actually starts, the feet will be deformed. It'll be splayed and the toes will turn in different directions, and that's actually going to cause arthritis down the road, and it's also going to affect the gait, which is going to then affect the joints if the dog's not moving right. So that's why nails are a big deal. First thing my handler does when my dogs get to her is she cuts their nails off. Even though we try to keep them short, she cuts them really short because she knows that such a small thing like that is going to affect their movement in the ring. So keep them short. Do it yourself. Don't do it just at the vet clinic, because then your dog's gonna be scared to death to go to the vet clinic, okay? The other thing is digestive issues that somebody asked about. I would say the most common one I hear about is bloating. I know that certain breeds deal with bloating more than Labradors, although I've only had one dog bloat ever, and the dog somehow got into a dog run where we left the gate open and there was a covered trash can, lid on it with dog food in it, got in there and ate and ate and ate, and she bloated, but nothing happened bad to her. We just watched her to make sure that she was okay, and she pooped all that out. But some dogs you really have to be careful, and therefore you have to raise their bowls when they're eating and drinking. So depending on what kind of breed you have, I think there's certain hounds, like bloodhounds and things like that you have to be really careful with that. Gas is a big issue with dogs. You can deal with that in a couple simple ways, and the first thing is what kind of food you're feeding it. If you look on the bag and there's a bunch of carbohydrates and corn and fillers, your dog's not going to be digesting that stuff. Are there digestive enzymes and probiotics in your food? If not, your dog's probably not getting the best out of its food. Are you feeding it table scraps? I almost said craps, but crap. That is crap for a dog. It's cooked. You don't want to feed them that. So make sure that you're monitoring the food, making sure they're on a premium food. If you want a recommendation from us, I do have a really, really excellent company that I use. I've never had digestive issues with it. There is one specific formula that they always refer people to if they have digestive issues in their dog, and it's their lamb and millet, M-I-L-L-E-T-T. Some people say millet, I don't know, but lamb seems to be highly tolerable in most pets, most labs. They also have cat food, by the way, but Flint River Ranch is on my website. If you go to www.emlabradors.com, click on nutrition, in the drop down you'll see Flint River dog food, and from that page you can go directly to, it'll click right there, go directly to the website, and you can look at the food there. I really like their duck and oatmeal formula, is one of my favorites, and after puppies go home and go to about a year and a half, people usually go to that food, and I love it because it has the digestive enzymes, your fatty acids, your probiotics. You're not going to have skin issues, coat issues, ears, bad breath, and bad digestion with that kind of food. So that's one of the first things you want to do. You also can use some essential oils and also powdered forms of enzymes and probiotics as well. I don't recommend dairy probiotics because then you may have a dog that does not digest dairy or could be intolerant to dairy. Socialization is another question we had people ask us about. I think what they want to know is possibly what kind of things to expose them to once they leave here, because obviously we've done great socialization here. I would highly recommend a puppy kindergarten class or an obedience class. Usually they won't take them until they've had their second series of shots. So they've had their first shot here when they're 7 to 8 weeks old. They'll have another one a month later, and usually after the second vaccine is when most boarding kennels, trainers, groomers will let dogs come in. So you want to make sure that you've done all that. You want them to be exposed to different ages of people, children, old people. You want to have them experience different surfaces, wood, cement, grass, gravel, different things like that. Noises, lots of different noises. Here we have, well, my assistant has a daughter, so even though my daughter's grown up now, we have her handling the puppies all the time. We have friends that come over, and depending on, you know, whether they have dogs or whether we know them really well, we will allow them to actually handle the dogs, play with them. Everybody around here loves to go down, play with the dogs, talk to them. Usually most of the time they're right by my office, and people are walking through constantly and constantly talking to them and playing and interacting with them. So you need to do the same thing with your dog. Just you go to dog parks, but make sure that you read my blog on my website about dog parks and things like that can actually turn into bad situations, into bullying situations, and you don't want that to happen to your dog during that formative stage from the time it goes home here till about 16 weeks old. You want to be very careful that there's not a traumatic experience during that time. So protect them during that time and be careful with who you expose it to, like even the right kind of children, like not a child. If you see a child really overwhelming that dog, remove the dog from the area. So there's things like that you want to be careful with and protecting your dog during that time. So puppy kindergarten, and then some kind of training, obedience. In fact, there's some bills being introduced right now in New York State where every dog may have to be certified by an obedience school, certified, approved obedience school if you're a dog owner. And that might go through, and that might end up going to other states too. So just do it anyway. And then if the bill does pass then into law, your dog will be fine. Play biting is another thing that people ask me about, and I've covered this in other video blogs, but basically puppy biting starts in the litter. It's a way that they socialize, it's a way they play, they chew on each other's ears, they chew on each other's legs, and they don't usually hurt each other unless one's got a hold of an ear and the one with the ear goes the other direction. You may get a little scrape there. But you don't want them to do that to you. So when the dog comes from the litter, and we don't encourage it either when they try to nibble on our feet or hands, we will use the gag reflex. We don't like to overcorrect. We don't approve of pinching a dog, hitting a dog, anything that would make a dog cower when you go towards it with your hand. So I recommend something that's very uncomfortable and very easy. And it's kind of an indirect thing. Like when you correct a dog, you kind of want them to not associate it with you, but this thing. So like when I'm going through the kennel sometimes and there's a dog jumping, I'll just swing my arms like I'm walking and whoops, oops, oops. And they kind of think, oh, let's stay away from her arms. You know what I mean? Like it's not me slapping at them, swinging at them, kicking at them. Also with play biting, you just want to do a gag like that. If they go, that's fine. It's uncomfortable, and after a few corrections, they'll realize, ew, that finger, it makes me gag. It's not like she's gagging me. They really just realize these things are not fun to chew on. Anything that they're chewing on, also redirect them to something that's safe, a very safe toy that they can't chew pieces off of.